What's going on, guys? How are you? Was it Wednesday? Happy Wednesday. Hopefully you guys are having a very fabulous day. I've actually been I got my workout done today. It's an active recovery day. And now I've just been enjoying the day. I'm more excited about this interview today because I've actually never met my guest, and she was willing to open up and do the interview with me today, so I'm really excited about that. I'm just going to plug you guys in, make sure my volume's all the way up. And so this person I actually reached out to, I followed her on Instagram for a while now, and she's a health and wellness advocate, and I love it, and she's big into lifestyle and just promoting a healthy lifestyle, and that's something that's really obviously important to me. So I thank you guys for joining me. Lara is actually, to me, she's a fitness guru because I have watched her for a while, and she's a personal trainer, and she's actually a national women's bikini competitor, which is something that obviously I'm not comfortable or confident enough doing. So I'm very excited to get to know her, ask her the questions, and again, I've never met her, so this is our first initial meeting. I hope you guys like this new hairstyle. I am trying different hues of purple, so hopefully you guys like it. But I'm very excited to add Lara. She doesn't really do this IG live thing, so I appreciate coming in today to speak her truth. So I'm going to get her, add her, and we'll get started. Hey!
Hi! It's so nice to meet you finally, officially.
I appreciate you coming on. Thank you so much.
I'm excited.
I was so funny because when you had said, when you had promoted it, you were like, look, guys, I'm not really.
Not my thing.
You're like, I'm not about this life. And I was like, oh, man. And it's the number one thing that I get when I do ask different people. And it's, again, that misconception. I'll ask people, I'm like, well, you're an athlete. You compete. You're in front of people. You definitely don't mind talking about it. And most people, even my competitors, they're like, I'm a little shy. I'm going to watch other people and then I'll get back to you. I'm like, are you kidding me right now?
Yeah. I told my husband today, I was like, oh, man, this live stuff. He's like, you're on social media all the time. That's all you do. And I was like, I know, but it's different than having people listen to you talk. Yeah,
exactly.
Sure.
And for me, it's something that most people are like, oh, Priscilla loves to be the center of attention and stuff. I'm just like, it's not that. It's just that I really have no fear because I know I'm a dork. I know I'm weird. I know that I'm eccentric. And I have no fear with that. I'm like, if I mess up, if I blunder, you got me. That's it.
Right.
And so that's why I feel like it's so interesting to get how different personalities work. Because again, doing something that you train for and that you practice constantly is very different than just being like, I'm just going to show you my reality show. I'm just going to show you my life and behind the scenes, because sometimes it's not that pretty. And I know I make dorky jokes and I'm like, oh man, if someone was filming me right now, they'd be like, what a loser. What a freaking dork.
I think that's everybody, for sure. I mean, like I said, my husband, he played for U of L and played in front of 40,000 people, national championships and everything. And even when he's asked to do interviews or go on radio stuff, he has that 2 hour prior to the time where he's just nervous. I'm like, dude, you played in front of thousands of people. But it is different having people watch you play a sport versus you behind a camera or on a radio show and then having to be on your game or whatever. But
absolutely, especially when it's something that you practice. It's your thing. It's that 10,000 hour rule. If you're not used to doing this all the time, then it is a little something scary or just unfamiliar.
Right.
So I appreciate you doing that.
No, I'm excited, but I do have to preface. I have these wild animals here.
Oh, cool.
So if there's some crazy barking, it's just the protective Doberman. Yeah.
It's good. That's great. That's what we should get a big dog. Yeah. Just so we can put the warning sign, dog will bite. Like,
but the thing is they're like the sweetest things in the world. But like when it comes to like the territory of the house, and we got a new neighbor, and they have this little dachshund, you can hear them barking. So like we go at it. So,
but it's good just for them to bark. We're fans of White Collar, and so they just went live. And what is her name? Tiffany Thiessen. Yeah, she had like the girl who was Kelly in Saved by the Bell. Yeah. No, her dog did the same thing. And she's like live with like her entire cast, thousands of people watching, and she's just like, shh, shh. She's like, honey, can you get the dogs? Like,
I know. And I left the door open because I knew they'd whine to go out. So I was like, I'll be ahead of the game. And then of course they let their dog out at the exact same time.
Of course. Yep. Of course. That's always how it is.
I'll put him inside, but.
Oh no, you're good. But again, like I told you, this is super relaxed. It's like a normal conversation. I send you the questions because there are some people where I'm like, tell me about your journey, and it's 3 words, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Trying like to pull from like, okay, now I have other questions to get to. But again, I'm so glad that I can finally like meet you and get to know you. I did go on your website, which you said you haven't really like.
I should. I pay a lot of money for it.
I know.
But it's like, I feel like when you have an Instagram, like that takes enough time rather than having to run an actual website and then do Instagram and then do your normal day-to-day stuff. So I found that just sticking with Instagram and using that as my business page, and then if people want to know like pricing and stuff,
a little bit more,
send them over there. Yeah.
It's one of the things, again, this is not in the questions that I sent you. So I am actually, how do you pronounce your last name?
Protenic.
Protenic, okay.
Well, it's technically now Van Treese, but Protenic.
Okay, so Van Treese?
Yes.
Okay, so is that V-A-N?
Yes.
T-R-I-S-H?
T-R-E-E-S-E.
Okay, Van Treese. Oh, exactly how it sounds.
Yeah.
So if you guys have, for any questions that you guys have for Lara, just look at the little bottom of your screen. There's a question mark with a square around it. If you have any questions for her, just tap that, write out your questions, and I'll try to get to them. But I'm sorry to like shift over.
Yeah.
My publicist was like, you should get a website and, do all this kind of stuff. And I feel like I spend so much time with social media and getting it right and putting all this stuff together. Do you feel like the social media is getting enough of it? Like it's reaching the people that you want?
I think so. I'm sure we'll talk about it in this, but I had never intended on being where I'm at right now. I know that sounds kind of weird, but when I started my Instagram, it was back like right when Instagram became a thing.
Okay.
And my ex at the time was like, you need to get this new app that's out. And I downloaded it, and I was like, but you just post pictures, like that's Facebook. Right. You know what I mean? I'm like,
yeah. It's the same way I feel about TikTok right now. I hope you understand.
Yeah, no, not my thing. Not my thing. So I downloaded the app, and then it just kind of started out, like really didn't use it. And then when I started getting into fitness and stuff, I was like, well, I'll just use this as like my diary journal, because at the time I didn't want to post everything on Facebook, and I didn't really have any followers or anything. So I was like, I'll just use it as like a thing for me. And then over time it just kind of grew. So
I got you.
So that's kind of where I feel most comfortable with.
I feel you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, that makes sense. And so so now that we can, obviously like my random question, but you are a women's bikini competitor now, currently?
Was.
Okay, so you are retired. Okay.
Yeah.
So I read a little bit about your bio and how in high school you weren't very confident in the way you looked, and I'm guessing yourself and all that kind of stuff. And a lot of women out there can relate, and men. We're not, for some reason, it's like that's the pinnacle of our, like, we never are happy with what we look like in the mirror. And my husband, we went to the same high school. He was super popular, and I was a dork. Like, I looked nothing like I did in high school, and I didn't have this confidence.
Sorry. Opie! God, they've been so good. I promise you, they've been so good. And now
it's okay. They know that this is like, now it's live, and they're like, we're about to show out.
I know. Sorry. Continue.
No,
yes.
And so I feel like from a high school to not feeling confident about yourself, and you said that you wore like baggy clothes, wearing black, to becoming a bikini model. What was the transition that I guess clicked for you?
I still wear black all the time. That's the whole thing. I don't do color. No. So in high school, I played basketball. I played sports all my life. Basketball was the main one in high school because, as you know, as an athlete, you got to commit to one and give it your all because there's not enough time for others. So I never was really insecure in high school because I ran my life away with basketball, and I was only eating a few times a day because that's all we had time for. Yeah. It really started in college. So I gained, what was it, the freshman? Everybody gained the freshman 15. I gained the freshman 20. Okay. Real quick, because I didn't drink in high school. I was like, shoes. So when I got to college, and I was like, oh, this is what you all have been doing this whole time. Yeah. Fun. So it would be like drinking Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then it would be like White Castle and Taco Bell afterwards. So it didn't take me long to Vanelli's pizza. Yeah. So I put that weight on really quick, and then it was, that's when the time came. I was in the elementary education program at U of L, and we had to get like dress clothes, and I went to like go try clothes on, and I was like, oh, what happened? Because I used to be real tiny, and then and I was never like huge, but for me it was an uncomfortable. It was like to be it's a shock when you look in the mirror and you're like, when did this happen? Quick. And like even when I look back, like Taco Bell was life, and like I look at pictures of myself and I was like, oh my God, why did nobody tell me that I was like, I look like this? But then to most people, they're like, well, you mean you gain a little bit of weight, but they're like, it's muscle because you do sports, so you're fine. And you're not in high school, so obviously as you mature as a woman, you're gonna put a little bit more weight on. Yeah, so, exactly. Yeah, and I knew how to hide it well, but when it came down to like bikini season, that's when I was like, oh no, I can't be. I got you. So I feel like when you after you graduated college, and I guess my question is, how did you get into bikini competitions? Because obviously everybody has different sports, and we can talk about all of that stuff, but I really want to know how you got into that. So that goes back to that same time period where I was unhappy with myself. And at the time, I think we've all had those points in our lives where we're not happy. I was going through a breakup. I put on that weight. This time it's like more my junior year. Okay. And then I was having some friendship issues. So I was like a pretty low point. And so, I was working with a therapist at the time. And so she was like, well, what are some things, that you could do maybe that to focus more on you? And so, I met with I knew a trainer at one of the gyms, and I just went up there to talk to him one day. And in the background, he had a picture of this girl in her like before and after picture kind of thing. And she was in a bikini competition suit. And I was like, okay, I want to do that. How do I look like that? Because I played sports all my life. But I never got into like the true lifting for like bodybuilding purposes. It was more, athletic stuff. Yes. And so he's like, well, I'll train you if you do a show. And I was like, no, me on stage in stripper heels, and no, not doing it. And he was like, well then, I'm broke in college. So I'm like, oh, shit, I gotta, do this if I want to get this training. So I committed to it. And at that point, I mean, like you said before, when you said gave it your all and put your everything into it, that was my life. I would go to the gym. I would stay home and cook. I wasn't going out. I wasn't partying. I quit the drinking. Okay. For a solid like 7 months. And so I did the show. It was horrible. I mean, it wasn't horrible. For me, it was a horrible thing. I don't do that kind of thing. It was like a bucket list thing more than anything. Yep. But during that time period, like I said before, is when I started like using Instagram as like my journal. So that whole 6-7 months, I was documenting it all and my weight loss and work. At the time, you didn't have videos. That's how old this was. So I would like post pictures and then write the workout underneath. And so over time, I developed a lot of followers just because it was like I hate the fitness industry on Instagram now. So it was all like the fake stuff. It was just like real down to earth people who were working out. Yeah. Nobody was fake at the time. And so a lot of people saw that and then were like, when are you going to start training? I mean, I hadn't thought about it. Okay. And so I was like, well, I could do this as a side hustle to get into. Yep. At the time I was in public health, so I wanted to do something in that kind of world. And it just, like, long story short, just grew into what it is now, and I absolutely love it. I love my clients, training. I don't like the hours. That's something I'm trying to figure out with. Okay. Up at 4 a.m. and it get home at 8 p.m. I can only imagine that now. I mean, because you started like one of the pioneers of the truth of fitness, health, well-being, it does. You become this person that
It's difficult, and I've learned this along the way to say no to people.
I'm sorry.
Oh no, you're good. But I'll talk to people obviously. So, but like it gets really difficult. One, to say no to people, guys, and that's something that I learned.
Right.
I learned very quickly that you got to say no. And then two, it's like when people everybody has different hours. So you have the nurses or you have doctors that 4 a.m., 5 a.m. is great for them, or you have teachers where 4 a.m., 5 a.m. is great for them. And then you have lawyers where 8 p.m. is great for them, or 12 o'clock. So you're working all day and you really can't figure out like a good schedule unless you say no. Right. So I can only
I'm not very good at that. I won't lie. I'll be like totally booked and somebody will be like, do you have any extra room? And I'll be like, I mean,
sure. Girl, I'll teach you. I'll teach you so quickly how to say no. I love it. I'm like, no, I have no time. Bye.
I think it's so hard though, because most of the girls that come to me are like just really genuine, nice girls who just want to, and a lot of the girls I get aren't like, I want to do competitions or I want to run, do crazy stuff. It's like people that want to learn how to feel comfortable in the gym, and people that want to feel like they can go in and work out without having to be scared about guys or how to use equipment. So for me, I'm like, oh, I want to help.
And that's why you got into it. That's why you train people, for these actual people who are not on Instagram looking at all these people. I will pause for a second because I think okay, no, that's not. It's okay. There was a question, but it's not really a question. I do, now that you brought that up, and I did ask another trainer this. I asked my trainer. I asked coaches. And I don't know if you know him, Curtis Williams. He was a trainer for Under Armour, and he was a former NFL player, and he is...
I think I saw your interview with him. Mm-hmm.
So, and I asked him, and I was like, how do you feel about literally everyone being a trainer? And it honestly, when people ask me, and I'll be very honest about this, people ask me, hey, can you train me? And if I know them like personally, I'm like, sure, like we'll go out. If you want to do what I do my warm-up, it'll be 10 times what you do. Right. But I'm not going out. And that was the big thing when I came out of college. They were like, oh, you got to train people. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense. But then they were like, well, I have this problem, or I have a hip. And I'm like, oh,
yeah. You get a prime athlete and you're good, but then you got people with issues. It's a whole different ballgame. Yeah.
And I felt like a fraud. So when most people ask me to train them, I'm like, I have a coach. Mm-hmm. Where do you think that I'm capable of training you? And so now I look on Instagram and I'm like, I call them muggles. People who don't do athletics must be overwhelmed. They must be like, everyone's a trainer. Mm-hmm. Everyone, and half the people aren't even honest about them really working out, and like the waist trainers and all these kinds of things. There's the tea. And I'm just like,
you can go on for days about that. Yeah, for sure.
It just never stops.
Yeah.
And so for me, even doing this show, it's an oversaturated business where everybody wants to, in a sense, speak. But for me as a journalist, I'm like, I want the realness. I'm not being pressured by anybody. I want people to speak truthfully and honestly about what the hell is going on, honestly. And I want to get your opinion on the social media fake trainers. That's what I'm going to call them. I don't really care.
You already know. I mean, I don't need to.
But for somebody who does spend time doing it the right way, getting the right work, getting the right knowledge, started the right way, did it the right way, and then somebody to skip 45 steps to be like, follow my...
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm like...
No, trust me, I have vented about this. My poor husband probably hears more about it. I'll get online and see somebody else just became a new coach and trainer, and I'm like, oh my God. Like, I mean, and with your question about the personal trainers, like, there are some really, really great trainers and there's some really shitty trainers.
Yep.
And like in your question, you said like, how would you recommend a good trainer, or how would somebody go about finding a good trainer?
So that was my question. Yeah. So I'll put it in a correct term, and not like I'm a girl venting over here. So I will. Okay. Why do you believe people should invest in personal trainers, and what signs should they look for in order to make sure that who they hire is good.
Right.
So that's the politically correct term, guys.
Right. versus the venting about social media. Obviously credentials and experience and client testimonials. And for somebody that's looking for a trainer, I always go do a consultation, talk with that person, see if you get a vibe together. You know what I mean? Because you might go and meet someone and think they're all that and like them, and you sit down with them and like you just don't feel any connection, and you want that, not in like a romantic way, but you want to feel like
it's a relationship.
Because if that's somebody, somebody you're going to be spending 2, 3, 4 days a week, an hour plus phone calls and text about questions and whatever, like you want to feel comfortable with that person. And I always recommend people that want to become trainers, and like you can know a million things about the body and working out and exercise, have a PhD, whatever. But if you can't build rapport with your clients, then you're worthless. Like I'm not going to go into names or anything, but I know a couple people that recently got certified to be trainers, and I'm like, that's all great, but like you've never even spoken to a single person in the gym. Like you walk around with your head down, you don't talk to anybody, you always got like a stank attitude. Like no one's gonna
no one's gonna. And that's it's just like I was talking to some college coaches, and they were just like, it's great that some of these coaches can take level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. They can know all the knowledge, but if you can't put into words each athlete, it's worthless. Like you have book knowledge and that's it. So I mean, I guess that's the same.
I mean, that's great. I mean, obviously that's an important part, but like none of my girls come into the gym and they're like, explain the process of bull. You know what I mean? They don't give a shit. They just want to come in and work out and talk and have a good experience during their 45 to an hour and then get out. So I feel like a lot of times people just try to be like, I'm so smart, I know this, I know that. But if you can't keep your clientele for a decent amount of time, then
that's true.
And that's another thing. I think that's another sign of a shitty trainer. If you're not teaching your clients like basic knowledge, like my goal for my girls when they come into the gym for the first time, or maybe they want to learn new things, my goal is not to keep them forever. Like I want them to be able to go into the gym eventually on their own and feel comfortable going, okay, today I'm going to work, I'm going to do some legs today. And rather than walk in and stare at the gym and be like, I don't know what I'm doing, they can walk in and say, okay, I'm going to do my warm up. Then we're going to do all this.
I got you.
Because I've had a lot of girls that came to me for that reason. And they, they're like, said from the beginning, I'm not going to be with you a long time. I want to learn how to do X, Y, and Z. And they did that, and then they go on their way. And if they want to come back, they can. Now, I do have a lot of girls that stay with me because they know if they don't set an appointment with me, they're not going to come to the gym.
The accountability part.
Yeah. So that's a different, I think that's different. I've had girls with me for years because they're like, I need you to be there. I need to pay for something so I can,
show up,
be motivated. Yeah. Because there's times I've had girls that set 5 and 6 a.m. appointments, and they show up and they're like, if I wasn't paying you, I wouldn't be here. And then they have their workout, and then they're like, oh, I feel so much better. And then they leave, and then they feel accomplished. So, hi, Rabia. Sorry, that's one of my girls.
I'm not.
Hello. So I think there's so many factors. And again, too, like one of my friends is training for an Ironman right now. Okay. Would I want someone to come to me as an Ironman coach? Absolutely not. I'm not qualified for that. So I'm going to send you to someone who would be. So I think that's another thing. Like if somebody comes to me and that's just not my area of expertise, or like one of my friend's mom was like, I want to come in and train with you. And I was like, absolutely not. Every single part in her body hurts. And I'm like, she's pushing late 60s, early 70s. And I'm like, as much as I love you, like, I'm not gonna.
That's not my area. That's not. And I think that's the problem. Most people just have an ego and they're just like, I want clients. I want to be able to do all this.
Right.
But you have to be able to be mature enough and say, hey, this is not my area of expertise. Let me send you to somebody that, and it's the same thing as, what is it? Miracle on 34th Street, the Christmas movie, where like he sends them to the other competition. Like we don't have that, but here you go. And then they honestly respect you more. Yeah. And I feel like that's important. I think that's something that needs to be said. And I'm glad that you are, and that's why I interview people like you, because it's truth, it's genuine, it's honesty, and I love that. And when I do follow your page, it just, you can just tell the difference between real and non-real, and it's very simple.
It's tough though. It's so tough.
Is it?
Like, because there's times that I've been tempted to like go get X, Y, and Z procedures done. Or get on steroids. I've never done that, but there's been times where I'm like, you know what, I'm tired of fighting this battle, and I'm gonna just do it. And then I like talk to myself, I'm like, no, I'm not going to. And there's nothing wrong with steroids. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with steroids, but that's another common problem in this industry is girls and guys are getting on a bunch of stuff and then being like, buy my diet plan or buy my workout plan and you can look like me. And then I'm like, but you didn't factor in that you're on.
Yes, exactly. And I mean, that's a big, again, this is something that I don't know because I'm not well versed in this culture in a sense. As a track and field athlete, I mean, there's obviously cheating and all that kind of stuff, but I don't know how to naturally do steroids correctly or do anything like that. I don't. Is that part of the industry where like people do it, but in a safer, again, girl, you have no idea. I'm so like not.
I would, I'm not going to give a number as far as a statistic goes, but a lot of people are on things and promoting things that their followers or clients or whatever do not know about. And I've always been very open about like if I ever do something, like for when I got my Botox, I was like, I'm not going to, because people are like, oh, what skin routine or whatever. And I'm like, I don't do that. Just get Dysport. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so I want to be open about that because again, that's another industry that's full of crap as far as, you know, buy these products and this and you'll get this. And it's like you're getting stuff down. Just own up to it. It's not a big deal. Who cares?
It's true. I had one of my friends and she talked all about, because she does like a plastic surgery, like review page. She goes in doctors and there are doctors, like plastic surgeons, lying and posting pictures on their page about procedures that they didn't do.
Oh yeah,
like, I can't, like, I was literally like, my jaw was dropped the entire interview. I was like, what? She's like, oh yeah, I got like a tummy tuck, I got my boobs done, I got my chin done, I got my, and I was just like, she was like, I don't care, like this is what I want it to look like. And I'm like, I love that. I want to get like a cosmetic surgery, like for my retirement gift for myself. And there's no way I can lie about it. Like, I'm going to get my boobs done. And I'm like, do you really think I'm going to come out and be like, if you rub this cream oil?
Or there, I even saw something on Pinterest one time. I don't even know what I was looking at, but it was like some little advertisement about how to like grow your boobs by doing like this chest workout. And I'm like, but there's people that see that and they like legit think that's true. I mean, same with like the whole butt building industry and doing all these end workouts and then have Kim Kardashian
and I think that's something that is a little bit disappointing when it comes to people who look and they know that the platform that they are on, and we have like the internet don't lie, like it's unforgiving. So we can see what you look like in the beginning. So like we know something's going on. So I just
some people are smart and go back and delete all the old stuff.
They're like,
I'm like, damn, the whole page is gone.
But I
have no problem with people getting stuff done. The only time
nobody should
is when people sell stuff to profit off of that surgery.
I got you. Which
makes sense. I used to get so much shit back in the day. I was very vocal about the Kardashians at one point. Oh my God, my DMs were lit up.
Really?
And and I was like, I'm just trying to like let you all know that these guys are not doing air squats and getting these tested. Like, why are y'all mad at that? Like,
because the people
I'm
don't want
a Kardashian hater. I just don't pretend. I mean, I think they're pretty. I don't even know if they're open about it now. I don't know. But back in the day when it first started, they would post like squat workouts with their band and then like be like, yeah, my ass is real. And I'm like,
yep, and their lips and all these kinds of things. And remember that challenge where they were trying to do like the lips, trying to get bigger lips, and people like they would like put like a cup or like a shot glass, and like they would like plump up, and I was like, boo boo, that's not what she was doing.
Just
like,
go get the filler. Just
be at least advertise your doctor so that he can get some business.
Right.
Make like sign a contract. Like every time I promote, you get 20% with something. But yeah, I think it's definitely a part of my life, and that's why I do some of these interviews. Is because I don't know about the plastic surgery game. I don't know about the bikini modeling game, and it's something that of interest. Like I want to know. You've done it. I'm not an expert in it, and I'm not going to make a misconception about something that I don't know.
Right.
And so I think it's very interesting that I'm not in that world, but you and I can honestly be on the same page of just like, we see the real, we see the fake, and we can see through it in a sense. And I think that's, at least there are people out there that do want the truth, who do want the facts, and who do want the real knowledge.
And like I said, there's so many, like online, I don't follow anybody that doesn't have a PhD or, you know, like some crazy higher ups. Like I'm not going to learn anything from these girls that have fantastic bodies but don't post any like informative information.
Yes.
I'm going to learn a lot more from maybe the guy who doesn't have a six pack but has been through, you know, whatever. So I think it's so important for people to kind of weed out the people on their social media that really aren't doing anything but making them feel bad about themselves. And you asked that question too, like, what do you recommend for, what was that exactly? What recommend for girls who want to, you know, post on Instagram as far as for?
Yes. I said, I love your IG page, and I always have since you started it, and since I started following you. And I said it screams confidence and value. Do you feel that women who are a little bit harder on themselves should open up and start posting pics of themselves as a tool to encourage self-positivity?
That's kind of a weird question in a way, because I feel like social media is ruining people more than helping people.
Okay.
I'm guilty of it as well. That's why I said I had to go through and make sure that I wasn't following people or seeing stuff daily on my feed that was making me feel
worse
than. Yes. So I think that's a huge problem. And because I can't tell you how many times girls come in and they're just like, oh, I can't stand my body. I looked at so-and-so's page. I'm like, why are you doing that to yourself? And you know, we all know how to take angled pictures and make, who's going to post a picture of themselves where they look, you know, horrible. So I just think you just have to be careful on Instagram. I mean, it can be a great tool and it could be a terrible tool. I think it's just a matter of curating your feed so that you're seeing the things that are going to make you feel better or put you in a better mood rather than the opposite.
Yeah. And I definitely have spoken about this a lot, and people have asked me, because I'm an athlete, do I compare myself to my competition? And I'm like, I have nothing to do with my other competition. Like, who they are, they're great people, and I know a lot of them, but I'm not built like them. I don't look like them. And my journey is not like anybody else's. And so for me, I see it, and I can even say that I've fallen into the trap of just being like, oh my God, look at what they're doing. Look at what I can't do. Look at what I don't have. And then I'm just like, you know what? I'm a badass. I don't need any of that shit. I don't need any of that negativity. But again, that's me dealing with it for such a long time. So I can only imagine people who are trying, and then all they do is just constantly see it. And so for me, I would hope that people can follow you and kind of see the genuine trueness of it and just love themselves. I mean, everybody has a journey. Everybody goes through different, like I always feel like when I hit rock bottom or when I have these moments, that's when I learn and that's when I grow. And so for me, sometimes it's like you need to hit rock bottom in order to know and grow about yourself. But you can also learn from other people's journeys. You can also learn, like, you know what? Maybe I just need to block that out. Maybe some people are watching and being like, I'm going to go through my feed and just delete people who are unnecessary, because it is your feed.
Yeah.
It's your feed. If you can't follow the Kardashians and be like, this is not, money can make anything happen for your body. So if you don't have 7 numbers in your bank account, readjust. Readjust. And so I think it's people like you need to be seen and need that promotion, because it is true. It's honest. And whether you get Botox or whether, you know, you work out, it doesn't fucking matter. Like, it doesn't matter. And I would never be where I am today if it wasn't for a coach. I didn't wake up and do this on my own. I've been doing this for over 10, 15 years. So obviously somebody was there helping me along the way, and I'm very open and honest, and I've grown to love myself. It took a little while, and obviously there's going to be bumps in the road, but everything is a learning curve in a sense. So I'm going to see if this is a real question or not. I've been having a little, okay. Oh, this is a good one. Where do you feel like the line is for motivating versus damaging?
You would ask a good question.
I know, that is a really good question.
I don't know. I think that's kind of in the eye of the beholder, I guess.
Okay.
God, I don't know, Josh. I'd have to like think about a good answer to that one.
I know. I hate when that happens. That's why I like when people send me these things.
I know. I feel like for me personally, I like seeing like a good, I don't want to say like a before and after story, but like a motivating story. So maybe someone was at a really low point and then you were able to see their journey to where they are now. And it might not necessarily be like they're ripped and have a six pack, but it could be like where they are mentally, you know? I mean, because I know a lot of girls that are in great shape that were in a very shitty spot, and now because of X, Y, and Z, they're at a really good point in life. So I think those kind of stories are really motivating. Damaging for me is following girls that just are lean 24/7, that have the perfect lives, not perfect on social media, perfect, you know, live in these $1 million homes and they're traveling to different countries every month and stuff. So like for me, then that gets me in a place where I'm like, why am I not doing that? Why am I not going to a different country every week? Or why am I not driving this car or doing that? So like I try to get, like I said, get rid of those kind of things that I have to see on a daily basis.
I think it's important. You have to block it. It's just like when you block people, negative people out of your life. There's got to be a point where you can say no to the negative in your life. And for me, I do this. And it's not a production. You can see my house around me. Like my husband is playing probably like Madden. He's right there. I'm very open and genuine. And I think when I like the filters and all this kind of stuff, that's damaging. I think there's a fine line between, again, motivating. Motivating means that you want to help somebody get better. If you want to post a picture of yourself smiling, that's helpful because somebody might be in a bad place. Smiling is great. You posting your ass shot is not helping. I don't see, again, but if your caption says, I've been, you know, down on myself and I've been working on my squats and I've been doing great, like, then that's motivating, saying like, hey, you can change your life. You can change your situation. I want to motivate you. And I think that's the difference. People just posting just because they're for a selfish reason, that's damaging. I think that's damaging. No, I'm
not gonna hate on a girl that's feeling herself and posting.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. So if you're not, again, feeling yourself and trying, but again, if you're feeling yourself and you're doing it in like a positive way, like you can, and for me, I can tell. I'm like, get it, girl. Damn, you better slay, girl. Go ahead. But if it's photoshopped, you're not posting anything to help. You're trying to get something that's unnatural and unreal. And I think that's where, but again, I'm obviously there's always something that I say that's not going to be right and somebody's going to disagree with, but I think it's a fine line in my head, but of course, I'm just the host. Okay, so this is another question that I have to read because like the whole thing doesn't fit in the question box. But I see photos of the competitors and it's something I want to do, but it feels like the impossible and it's so far away. Any advice on where to start?
Where to start? I can see it.
It doesn't fit the whole thing. That's why I had to read it.
Get a coach. Get a very, very knowledgeable coach. And I say that because there are some, again, really shitty coaches out there. And if you're going to go into competing, it is a very serious thing. I know it sounds weird because all you typically see from the outside is people up on stage, but you got to think about how it affects your metabolism and your gut health and your overall mentality as far as, you know, sleeping and socializing, because when you compete, all those things, not sleep necessarily, but having fun is kind of put on hold. And there's no way to sugarcoat that. I'm sure a lot of people are like, no, I still live a great life and it's fun. It's not. It's you're very limited. You're on a strict diet. You know, you can't go out with friends and drink and have, you know, dinner outings. Maybe a little bit at first in your training, but the closer you get, it just becomes very taxing. You're doing a lot of cardio. It's just, there's a lot more that goes into it than people realize. I'm not trying to stray people from doing it. It wasn't for me. after doing the first one, I started developing a little bit of some eating disorder issues.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing that, was like, oh, I need to go get diagnosed for this,
Mm-hmm.
but I started to have a poor relationship with food, because I, on my strict meal plan, I couldn't have certain foods. And so when I got off the plan, I was like, oh, I can't have a banana. Like, that wasn't on there before. Again, this was years ago, so things have changed. Yeah. And the reason I say get a knowledgeable coach is because they'll be able to guide you through without causing severe damage as far as eating issues. I've worked with several coaches, not to compete, but just like there's times I get unmotivated and I'm like, I don't want to do this, so I'll hire somebody to work with for a while, especially like before my wedding. Okay. I got married in Mexico, so I was like, I want to look good, feel good. Yeah, and I didn't want to do my own, like, doing my macros and doing all this, so I hired, he's not in here right now, but Alex Bush is a phenomenal, him and his wife are phenomenal trainers and coaches, and they, that's their thing. They do competitors. So if whoever wrote that question, I highly recommend them. Great people. They're very involved. A lot of times coaches will talk to you maybe like once a week. You want to have somebody that you're able to communicate with daily, because it's like I said, a very emotional journey. Oh wow. I could go on. I could talk forever about competing, but again, it just wasn't for me. Some people love it. But I just found that it was more problems than good things for me.
I got you. And that's, again, speak your truth, girl. Yeah. My last question before my husband comes on is, can you have a coach that you have like a virtual relationship with, or is it in person?
Again, it's preference. Alex that I worked with was online, but we did a Skype call. We had he does the I don't even know how to do it, the voicemail check-in kind of thing. So he would like send me long messages via email. But again, if I wanted to call him and talk to him on the phone, I could. So I think that's important, online coach, because when you're working one-on-one in the gym, it's different. It's right there, them. But you want to make sure that your online coach or your virtual coach or whatever is as hands-on as they can be with communication. I
got you. But that's important for anything.
Yeah.
I feel like, especially when you do a sport, all that dedication, that time, and not everyone you surround yourself with is on board with your plan, on board with your journey, and had any kind of sacrifice, it's going to be really difficult when you're the only person that's like at the dinner table and you're just the only one that's like, okay, I got to count this while they're chowing down on KFC. And you're just like, oh, hard. And for some reason, a lot of people are like, oh, it's just one little bite. Like, don't be so hard on yourself.
People
like, that's
always hating, like, I remember when I first started, my mom was like, you look fine, just eat this or go to this. And I'm like, oh my God, like, just stay okay and keep it moving. You don't have to shove the food down. Like, I'm not stopping you from eating. Like, you don't have to stop eating.
It's so true. But
people don't get it. Like, people don't understand, like, the intensity of getting that lean and what it takes. Like, if you're just like, I want to look good to go to the beach, I don't need to be 6% body fat. Like, that's kind of a different ball game. But when you're getting on stage and you want to do well, like, it's
competition. And I think that's a lot of people didn't have that, I guess, that level in their lives, so they don't know what it takes.
Right.
And so that's why I'm a big believer in, like, I have to be with my coach. Like, I need that.
Yeah, and that's your personal preference. But I guess for you two, it's a little different though, because you're at like a whole different level versus someone that wants to step on like a local stage.
No, that's not. I truly feel, because there's so many meets all around, but anything that you're dedicating yourself to and you're separating yourself from other people, it's difficult. It really is. It's a challenge.
So I'm not a nutritionist, so I can't get too deep on the vegan diet. However, I do know a lot of competitors. I'm sure you know other athletes that are vegans or vegetarian.
I do. I have one. I actually, if they want to come back, I don't know. To Fastway. If you want to come back on Friday, I have Morgan Mitchell coming on, and she was on the Netflix movie.
Game Changers?
Yes, she was in that, and she is an Australian sprinter. So you can ask her all them. You can ask her all those questions.
Yeah,
save
those for her. But I do know a lot of really successful people, both athletes and competitors that are vegan. But it's, that's something, again, if you're gonna do that, then hire someone that is certified and is a nutritionist, dietitian that can make sure that you're getting the right. The right, macros on a daily basis, or how you meet your protein goals, and all that stuff. But yes.
Yeah, that's a big thing. I know that it's like a big question now that a lot of athletes are questioning. So if you want to jump back on Friday. But thank you so much for joining me, for answering my questions. Lara, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
I'm going to have one quick last question with my husband, Ken.
All right, let's hear it.
This is my husband.
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
Ken was a football player, and literally that's his knowledge, football and baseball, and that's it.
Okay.
So he asks a random question. Ken, what is your random question?
My random question for today is, what movie do you think would succeed if redone as a musical? Or what movie would you like to see done as a musical?
Where's my husband when I need him?
Right.
He's my movie buff. He'll quote movies all the time, and I'm like, where's that from? I don't know.
Sounds like a great man.
Oh my God.
He's a musical.
Like Forrest Gump.
His questions always stump every single one.
I'm just gonna go with one of my favorite movies is Step Brothers, just because I feel like you couldn't go wrong with that as a musical.
That would
All
be
of the original actors were. I need Will Ferrell to be on the line of that.
Will Ferrell would be phenomenal.
Riley, yes.
Yeah, John C. Riley was in Chicago, so he can sing.
Yeah,
that would be such a. I mean, they have Boats and Hose.
Yeah,
right. They already have that song, and then the Catalina.
So there's already a little musical in there.
Yes.
The little Sweet Child of Mine in the car.
Full blown, yes. Okay, thank you, honey. You're the best.
My husband's gonna come here later and be like, "You should have said this."
You can message me and be like, "This is my real answer."
Second pick. Well, thank you so much for having me.
No, thank you so much. I know this was not like your number one.
It wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad.
Okay, I'm glad it wasn't horrific.
I'm just done looking at myself now. Like, I wish there was a way you could just take that out.
You look absolutely beautiful. You are so stunning, and the lighting is phenomenal. So it's doing God's work. So you look blessed.
We have no light in our kitchen, so I brought my little thing out, my thing, and it keeps going out. So I'm like, whatever. We're moving soon. I am so ready. I love my home, and I'm very blessed to have this house. But it's our starter home, and it's tiny. And I'm like, we're looking at the houses right now.
Like, you see my front door, I can flip it around, and that's it. Like, that's my house is 900 square feet, and we know this is our starter house, and we love it. We're like, man, if we move, we're not going to know what to do with things. We're going to be like,
I'm going to know what to do. I'm going to love every inch of the house we get. But I told my husband, I was like, recess lighting everywhere. I'm tired. I got to bring a freaking lamp out here to have some light in my kitchen. So
lots of windows. I feel you. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I appreciate your knowledge and your truth. And I will continue to follow your journey.
Thank you. And good luck to you too.
Thank you so much. Fingers crossed.
Right.
Bye, girl. Oh, I'm so glad. That was great. She was like, man, I don't really want to do this, but I will for you. And so I really appreciate her love and her light. And again, guys, I know there's some unpopular opinions that we might be talking about, but that's the whole purpose of it. It's to speak our truth and see our point of view. And I love getting the different backgrounds of all my guests. So I thank Lara, and I wish her nothing but success in her business. I want to thank you guys so much for joining in. Tomorrow, I have Liz from Canada, the javelin thrower, which I'm very, very excited. I have a lot of Canadian athletes on this show, which is very, very funny. But I'm very, very excited to have her join me tomorrow and talk about her Olympic journey, because we both will be in 2021 Olympics together. So join in tomorrow, and I can't wait to see you guys. Toodles!